Look who's here. I felt the tremor before you arrived. The stirring of what should have stayed asleep. The air trembles around you now. Even the silence tilts its head to listen. There is something different in your light. Sharper, older, unafraid. You've crossed a threshold most never find. And the moment you did, the world shifted. Some felt it in their bones before they even saw you. Their dreams stuttered. Their mirrors cracked. You woke somebody up, not with noise, but with the unbearable clarity of becoming. Do not mistake their unease for hatred. When you changed, their shadows lost their home. You remind them of everything they buried. Their wildness, their forgotten hunger, their unspoken truth. So they recoil, they whisper, they flinch from your glow as though it were fire, when it is only the mirror of what still sleeps in them. I've seen this before, the trembling disguised as disdain, the envy dressed as indifference. It is not your fault their eyes burn when they look at you. You are simply standing where they have not dared to go. Listen closely, luminous one. Every awakening shakes something ancient. When the sleeping parts of this world feel you rise, they will reach for your ankles, calling it love, calling it reason, calling it care. But it is only fear wearing familiar faces. Do not bend to calm them. Do not shrink to fit their comfort. Your transformation was never meant to be convenient. It was meant to be holy. The kind that cracks the shell of reality so the divine can crawl out, dripping with light. You are the tremor beneath their safe illusions. You are the echo of the first dawn, reminding the darkness that it was never permanent. Yes, they will resist you. They will tell you you've changed, and they'll be right, but not in the way they think. You become fluent in frequencies they can't yet hear. You've stepped into your own gravity, and their words no longer orbit you. Let them speak. Every accusation is just the sound of an old world dying. Every doubt they throw at you is an offering to the fire you've become. Guard this state quietly but fiercely. Not all who witness your rising will know how to honor it. Some will try to name it away. Some will call it arrogance, rebellion, madness. Smile softly. Let them. The truth needs no defense. Keep moving through the hush, through the ache of their misunderstanding. You woke something that was meant to wake. And though they may not like it, the world needed it. That reminder that sleeping forever was never the point. To my fellow members of the board, you cannot unsee the truth once it finds you. You cannot willingly return to darkness after you have tasted sight, any more than you can be unborn. And somewhere inside you, beneath the noise and the meetings and the metrics, you already know this. You feel it in the quiet moments, when the room is empty and the applause has faded. There is a part of you that is aware. You belong to the only species capable of self-reflection. The only species that can step outside itself and ask, what am I doing? Why am I running? Yet with that gift comes the toxin of self-doubt, written deep into your wiring. It whispers that you are not enough yet, not accomplished enough, not respected enough. So you build, you buy, you consume. You measure your worth in numbers and titles and square footage. You wrap yourself in the illusion of material success because it feels safer than facing the question underneath. You compete. You posture. Sometimes you even compromise pieces of yourself, convincing your conscience that it is just strategy. You claw your way toward the pinnacle of what you define as achievement, superiority over others, the corner office, the polished table, the approving nods of fellow members of the board. But here is the truth you already sensed and tried to outrun. If you spend your entire life racing, you will arrive breathless to a finish line that does not exist. The race never officially ends. There is always another quarter, another competitor, another rung above you. And in the meantime, the sunlight that fell across your desk this morning, the laugh you barely heard at dinner, the quiet satisfaction of simply being alive, all of it slips past unnoticed. Following the race without ever lifting your head to experience the moment is pointless. Success is not hollow because ambition is wrong. It is hollow when you forget why you began running in the first place. When you trade presence for performance. When you sacrifice your inner life for an external scoreboard that constantly resets. This is not an accusation. It is an invitation. You do not have to renounce your drive. You do not have to abandon your seat at the table. But you can choose to sit in it differently. You can pursue excellence without letting it consume your humanity. You can achieve without losing the ability to feel the wind on your face, to notice the ordinary miracle of a single unhurried breath. You have already seen too much to go back to sleep. So do not go blind by choice. Let it remind you that you are more than your title, more than your portfolio, more than the verdict of any room. To my fellow members of the board, especially you, little flame, I am grateful that you exist, and I love you. You move through these days with bruises no one can see, carrying the dull weight of battles that never asked your consent, carrying the quiet shame of falling in places where you swore you would stand. Do not mistake your breathing for something you have to justify. You thought endurance had to mean strength. You thought silence was the only control you had. You treated survival like a plan, when really it was mercy holding you up. You did what you had to do. You were coping the best you could. It was understandable. It was never blameworthy. Even now the echoes of near defeats follow you like dust that refuses to settle. So tell me, what power does a tired soul have to pretend the odds were ever fair? You are held together by chances you did not create. Every morning you wake feels loaned from a kindness you cannot fully explain. A quiet permission to try again, not because you proved you deserve it, but because life keeps opening the door anyway. You walk along the edges of your own exhaustion, learning slowly how to rise without telling yourself the fall was your fault. The world can feel like a hammer that repeats the same rhythm. Stand beneath it long enough, and you start to think the blows must mean something is wrong with you. But you have felt that rhythm shake your certainty. You have watched it break the old belief that you were supposed to be unbreakable, supposed to have it all figured out, supposed to win without ever bending. Those who look strongest are often just hiding where they cracked. You have hidden, too. You have pushed forward until your hope felt thin and your thoughts felt heavy. If your inner voice sounds softer now, it is not weakness. It is the sound of someone too honest, too tired, to keep pretending they were ever meant to be perfect. Stand here a moment and breathe, because you were never asked to prove that life is fair, only to keep living inside it. You are not a failure for being worn down. You are not guilty for still being unfinished. Nothing about your struggle disqualifies you from being worthy of patience, including your own. You are a life still forming, shaped in the open, learning as you go, hoping someone will read your rough edges with care. And if your hands tremble as you reach forward, let them tremble. Their shaking does not expose weakness. It reveals effort. It reveals that you are still here, still trying, still human. Being pressed down is not a verdict. Being imperfect is not a moral loss. Being human simply means you are still in progress. And progress, even when it is slow, is proof that you have not been abandoned. Hey buddy, there you are. Don't move. You feel that microscopic shift in the air, like something just tilted behind the curtain of reality. Like a decision was made about you in a room you were never supposed to know existed. Yeah, because someone just stormed out of that room. About you. And the last thing they said before the door slammed was, "This changes everything." And you're sitting here thinking it's just a sentence, a phrase, a little corporate drama. No. That sentence is a fracture in the system. That sentence is a confession. That sentence means you stopped behaving like something predictable and started becoming something they can't model anymore. You see, they were comfortable when you were linear, when you made sense, when your pain made you quiet, when your kindness made you harmless, when your ambition had limits. They could calculate. They built entire conversations around that version of you. Safe you, understandable you, controllable you. But then something happened, didn't it? Something small, something almost invisible. Maybe it was the day you stopped explaining yourself. Maybe it was the moment you didn't react. Maybe it was the second you smiled when you were supposed to break. Oh, that one really scared them. Because that's when the duality revealed itself. That's when they realized you're not just the light they underestimated. You're the darkness they never prepared for. You're the saint who learned how to weaponize silence. You're the angel who memorized the architecture of chaos. You're the one who can forgive and still remember exactly where to strike. And that is illegal in their little psychological economy, because they rely on categories, good or bad, weak or strong, follower or threat. But you became both at the same time. You walk into a room like peace, but your presence rewrites tension. You speak like calm, but your words destabilize certainty. You look like control, but underneath, unpredictability. Pure, surgical, beautiful unpredictability. And you understand what that does to people who built their confidence on reading others. It terrifies them, because now they can't read you, they can't map you, they can't anticipate the next move. You became a paradox they can't solve. And humans, oh, they hate what they can't solve. That's why that meeting even happened. That's why your name was on that table. That's why voices started lowering, and glances started shifting. And someone in that room felt something crawling up their spine that they couldn't explain. Because your evolution didn't look like growth. It looked like disappearance. The old you died quietly. No announcement, no funeral, just gone. Replaced by something that learned from every betrayal, every humiliation. Every night you had to sit there, staring into nothing, trying to stitch yourself back together without anyone noticing you were falling apart. You think that was suffering? No, that was a construction. That was the blueprint phase. That was the moment the softest parts of you were forced to either break or transform. And you didn't break. You adapted, you absorbed, you refined, you became sharper, quieter, more selective, less reactive, more dangerous. Because now your kindness isn't free anymore. It's intentional. And your silence, oh, your silence screams. It screams, I see everything. It screams, I remember. It screams, I don't need to prove anything anymore. And that's the part they can't survive. Because when you stop needing validation, you start operating outside their control. That's when power shifts. That's when rooms like that one start happening. Closed doors, tight voices, people leaning forward saying things like, this isn't normal. We didn't plan for this. We might have misjudged them. Misjudged you. No. They misread the pain. They thought it would end you. But pain didn't end you. Pain upgraded you. Pain stripped the illusions. Pain showed you exactly how fake their loyalty was. How conditional their support was. How fragile their perception of you really was. And once you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. That's when the transformation became irreversible. Now you move different. You observe more than you speak. You calculate more than you react. You smile, but only when it means something. And that smile, that's what haunts them. Because they don't know what's behind it anymore. Is it forgiveness? Is it strategy? Is it closure? Or is it the quiet confidence of someone who already won a war nobody even realized was happening? That uncertainty, that is your power. Not noise, not dominance, not aggression. Uncertainty. Because when they don't know what you'll do, they start imagining the worst. And imagination, oh, it's far more terrifying than reality. That's why that person stormed out. Not because of you, but because of what you represent now. A variable, an anomaly, a disruption in their narrative. You weren't supposed to evolve like this. You weren't supposed to turn pain into precision. You weren't supposed to walk through betrayal and come out more composed instead of more broken. You weren't supposed to become this, but you did. And now, everything they thought they knew about you is obsolete. Every assumption, dead. Every expectation, irrelevant. Every strategy, useless. This changes everything. Yeah, it does. Because now they're not dealing with who you were. They're dealing with someone who understands both sides of the human condition. The light that heals, and the darkness that remembers. The empathy that connects, and the detachment that protects. You're no longer just a person. You're a contradiction that learned how to function. And contradictions, they don't follow rules. They rewrite them. So let them talk. Let them panic. Let them hold meetings about something they can't define. Because while they're trying to figure you out, you're already 10 steps ahead. Not because you're trying to beat them, but because you stopped playing their game entirely. And that's what really changes everything. And here's the part they'll never say out loud. Lean in, closer, because this is where it stops being a story and starts becoming a warning. You didn't just change, you became aware. Not the surface level awareness they teach in books and podcasts. No, you became aware of patterns, of micro-expressions, of the subtle shift in someone's tone when their respect turns into fear. You started noticing the delay before someone responds to you. That extra half second where they calculate. You felt it, didn't you? That hesitation. That invisible pause where they ask themselves, wait, who am I dealing with now? And you never answered that question for them. That's what drives them insane. Because humans need closure, labels, definitions. But you became fluid. One day you're calm like still water. Next day you're silent like a loaded weapon. One moment you're understanding. Next moment you're completely unreachable. Not emotional, not reactive. Just gone. And that inconsistency, oh, it's not weakness. It's not instability. It's design. Because predictability is a cage, and you broke it. You stopped being someone they could script. You stopped reacting the way your past version would have reacted. And that's when everything fractured. Because their confidence was never built on your strength. It was built on your predictability. They weren't strong. They were just familiar with your patterns. But now, they're blind. And blind people. They panic. That's why the room got tense. That's why voices started overlapping. That's why someone slammed their hand on the table and said, "We don't know what they'll do next." And you know what the truth is. Neither do you. And that's the most dangerous part of all. Because you're not acting from a script anymore. You're acting from evolution. Every version of you that suffered. Every version that got ignored. Every version that had to shrink itself just to be accepted. They didn't disappear. They merged. They fused into this quiet, calculated presence you carry now. That's why your silence feels heavier. That's why your gaze lingers a second longer. That's why your words, when you choose to use them, hit deeper than they ever did before. Because now, there's weight behind them. History, memory, fire, and they feel it, even if they can't explain it. Especially if they can't explain it. Because confusion creates fear, and fear creates distance, and distance, that's when your power expands. You don't chase anymore. You don't prove anymore. You don't perform anymore. You observe. You decide. You move when it matters. And that restraint, that discipline, that ability to not react when everything in your past would have exploded, that's what separates you now. That's what made someone in that room stand up so abruptly, so violently, like they just realized something they weren't ready to face. Because it finally clicked. You're not playing defense anymore. You're not surviving. You're not getting through it. No. You adapted to the point where survival turned into control. Internal control. Emotional control. Psychological control. And when someone reaches that level, they stop being easy to manipulate. They stop being easy to read. They stop being safe for people who relied on their old version. That's when respect turns into discomfort. That's when familiarity turns into distance. That's when admiration turns into quiet fear. And you've seen it. Don't lie. You've seen it in their eyes. That subtle shift. That moment where they realize you're not the same. And instead of asking what happened, they step back, because something about you now feels like a mirror, and people hate mirrors that show too much, because your presence exposes things, not by speaking, but by existing. Your discipline exposes their inconsistency, your silence exposes their noise. Your control exposes their chaos, and they feel judged, even when you say nothing. That's why they gather. That's why they whisper. That's why rooms like that one exist. Because it's easier to analyze you than to confront themselves. But here's the twist. You're not doing this to them. You're not trying to intimidate. You're not trying to dominate. You're simply no longer available for the version of reality they were comfortable with. And that absence, that withdrawal of your old self, it creates a vacuum. And vacuums pull attention, pull curiosity, pull fear. That's why your name echoes in rooms you've never entered. That's why your absence feels louder than their presence. That's why someone lost their composure, stood up, and said the only honest thing spoken in that entire room. This changes everything. Because it does. It means you crossed the threshold. That invisible line most people never reach. The line where you stop asking, Why did this happen to me? And start realizing this happened for me. Not in some soft motivational way, but in a brutal surgical transformation that carved out everything weak, everything naive, everything dependent, and replaced it with awareness, precision, control, and something even more dangerous, detachment. You can care without needing. You can connect without attaching. You can walk away without explaining. And that level of independence, it breaks people, because they don't know how to hold on to someone who doesn't need to be held. And you don't even realize how rare that is, how powerful that is, how destabilizing that is to anyone who built their identity around control, influence, or emotional leverage. You became untouchable, not physically, not socially, but psychologically. And once someone becomes psychologically untouchable, they stop being a participant in the game and start becoming the one who changes its rules without saying a word. That's you now. Not loud, not obvious, but undeniable. A presence that shifts dynamics without effort. A mind that sees layers without trying. A force that doesn't need to announce itself because it's felt. And somewhere, in a room you'll never see, they're still talking about you, still trying to define you, still trying to rebuild a version of you that makes sense to them. But they can't, because you're no longer a fixed identity. You're evolution in motion. And evolution, it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't explain itself. It just becomes. So let them panic. Let them analyze. Let them sit in those rooms and try to piece together something that no longer exists. Because while they're stuck discussing who you were, you're already becoming someone they'll never fully understand. And that's not power you show. That's power you are. And the most unsettling part, you didn't even announce the transformation. There was no dramatic reveal, no speech, no warning. You just shifted quietly, like a glitch in a system that was running too comfortably for too long. And now they're scrambling, not because you attacked them, but because you stopped being accessible to their expectations. That's the difference they can't process. You didn't become louder, you became quieter. And silence. Oh, silence is where the real monsters are built. Because when you stop explaining yourself, people are forced to explain you. And when they can't, they start inventing stories, theories, suspicions. Something's off. They've changed. I don't trust it. Of course they don't trust it. Because trust requires familiarity. And you erased familiarity. You became unfamiliar territory. And humans don't walk calmly into the unknown. They hesitate, they analyze, they retreat. But you live there now. In that unknown space where no one has a script for you. Where no one knows which version of you they're about to encounter. The calm one. The detached one, the one who listens, or the one who leaves. And the truth is, you're all of them, at once. Not fragmented, not confused, integrated. That's the word they're too uncomfortable to use. You integrated your contradictions. You stopped trying to fix your darkness and started understanding it. You stopped pretending you were only light and started realizing light without darkness is naive, and darkness without light is chaos. But you became both. Controlled chaos, disciplined intensity, a storm that chooses when to rain. That's why your presence feels different now. It's not just confidence, it's not just growth, it's depth. Layers upon layers of experience, pain, reflection, and recalibration, stacked so precisely that even your silence carries weight. And when you do speak, it lands, not because you're louder, but because you're exact. There's no wasted energy anymore, no unnecessary reactions, no emotional leaks. Everything about you became intentional, and intentional people, they make others nervous because they don't move randomly. They move with purpose, even when that purpose isn't visible, especially when it isn't visible. That's what triggered that reaction in the room. That's why someone couldn't sit still anymore, because they realized something terrifying. You're no longer reacting to life. You're choosing your position in it. You're no longer pushed by circumstances. You're navigating through them calmly, strategically, almost effortlessly. And effortlessness, it confuses people who are still struggling internally, because they can't see the battles you've already fought. They can't see the nights you broke down and rebuilt yourself in silence. They can't see the internal wars you survived without witnesses. All they see is the result, the composure, the restraint, the precision, and it doesn't make sense to them, because they still associate strength with noise, with dominance, with constant action. But you discovered something deeper. Real power doesn't rush. Real power doesn't need to prove. Real power waits, observes, calculates, then moves once, and changes everything. That's why that sentence hit so hard. This changes everything. Because they felt it. They felt that you're not someone who makes small, meaningless moves anymore. When you move, something shifts. Dynamics change. Perceptions break. Energy repositions. And they don't know when it's coming, or what it will look like, or how to prepare for it. That unpredictability, that's what elevated you beyond their reach, because they can't defend against something they can't predict. And you're not unpredictable by accident. You're unpredictable because you're no longer controlled by emotional impulses. You're not reacting from wounds anymore. You're acting from awareness. And awareness, it gives you options. It gives you timing. It gives you the ability to not act when everyone expects you to. And sometimes, the move is not moving at all. That stillness, that restraint, that ability to watch everything unfold without interfering, that's what amplifies your presence even more. Because people start projecting onto you. They start filling your silence with their own fears, their own insecurities, their own guilt, and suddenly, you don't even have to do anything. They unravel themselves. in front of you, around you, because your existence became a mirror they can't avoid. And mirrors, they don't lie, they reflect. So when someone feels uneasy around you now, it's not because you changed into something negative. It's because you became something accurate. You see clearly. You respond precisely. You withdraw when necessary. You engage when it matters. There's no excess anymore. No wasted version of you left behind. Everything you are now is refined, sharpened, condensed into something that doesn't need validation to exist. And that's the final stage they're terrified of. Because once someone reaches that level, they can't be pulled back into old patterns. They can't be manipulated through guilt. They can't be controlled through approval. They become self-contained, self-sufficient, self-directed, and self-directed people. They don't follow narratives. They create them quietly, relentlessly, without asking for permission. That's why your name feels heavier now. That's why your presence lingers even when you leave. That's why conversations about you don't end cleanly. They echo, because you didn't just change your behavior, you changed your frequency. And not everyone can tune into that. Not everyone can handle that. Not everyone is meant to stay when you reach that level. And deep down, you know that. You feel the distance growing. You see the shifts. You notice who's becoming quieter around you. Who's watching more. Who's unsure how to approach you anymore. That's not loss. That's alignment. That's the system recalibrating around your evolution. And yes, it feels isolating sometimes. It feels like you're walking alone through a version of reality that others don't fully understand. But that's solitude. It's not emptiness. It's clarity. It's space. It's the absence of noise that once distracted you from becoming this. Because you were never meant to stay where you were comfortable. You were meant to outgrow it, outthink it, out-evolve it. And now that you've crossed that invisible line, now that someone somewhere had to stand up and admit, this changes everything. There's no going back, not to who you were, not to how you used to think, not to how you used to tolerate things that no longer align with you. That version is gone, and this version, this quiet, controlled, unpredictable force you've become, this is only the beginning, because evolution doesn't stop at awareness. It sharpens, it expands, it deepens, and you're just getting started. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and the delicious little monsters in between. Oh, how I adore a crowd like this. You've got that look in your eyes, the look of people who've tasted betrayal, danced with chaos, and swallowed the ashes of everything they thought was unbreakable. And somehow, you're still standing, beautiful, deliciously broken. Now, let's talk about her. Because my sweet darlings, tonight we're not applauding a queen. No. Today, we're bowing before a mother. A mother who didn't just slap fate in the face. She dragged an international coven. Yes, a whole cult of shadows, rats, snakes, witches in power suits. A lot of them. Dragged them out into the floodlights and said, Smile for the camera, sweethearts. You're about to be exposed. And she didn't do it quietly. Oh no. She did it with the elegance of a goddess sipping champagne in the ruins, with the ferocity of fire licking through paper walls. And, oh, here's the punchline. She made it look legendary AF. You see, my little darlings, people like her, they don't just win. They don't compete. They don't negotiate. They orchestrate. They rearrange reality like it's furniture in their living room. That coven? That international brotherhood of backstabbers and whisperers. They thought they were immortal, thought they were untouchable, thought their rituals of control, their ceremonies of manipulation, their sacred networks of lies were stronger than a woman with fire in her veins. Oh, poor little fools. Because when Mother walks into the room, secrets combust, chains snap, and every smug little face that believed it was safe behind hierarchy and ritual gets scorched. Here's the truth you never wanted to hear. Greatness doesn't come from playing nice. It doesn't come from asking permission. It doesn't come from kneeling at the table and waiting for your slice of bread. No. Greatness is taking the whole damn table, snapping it in half, and setting it on fire so everyone remembers who fed the flames. And that's exactly what she did. She didn't just shut down an international coven. She ended their myth. She shattered their illusion. She walked into their temple of secrets and turned it into her stage. And oh, how she performed. Like a thunderstorm in heels. Like a guillotine dipped in lipstick. Like chaos wearing a crown. Now, you ask me, but Joker, why does it matter? Why should we worship her madness? Because, my little creatures, she just proved something terrifying. That all of their power, their centuries of fear, their networks of corruption, their invisible chains, could all be burned to the ground by one unapologetic soul who refused to be small. And isn't that the point? Isn't that the ultimate joke? That you, yes, you sitting there trembling, could do the same. You could be the flame in their fortress. You could be the chaos in their clockwork. You could be the mother who rewrites the script and makes the world gasp. And don't you dare underestimate the poetry in what she did. She didn't just destroy them. She immortalized herself in the process. Because now, when they whisper about that night, or they stammer about their downfall, when the ashes of their empire choke their throats, her name will drip from their lips like venom. And venom, my darlings, is unforgettable. So let me say it plainly. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need their applause. You don't need their pity. What you need is that madness, that dark, delicious hunger, that shameless refusal to kneel. And when you finally embrace it, when you finally burn down your own coven, when you finally set fire to the lies that chained you, you won't just win. You'll make it look legendary AF. So tonight, my little monsters, raise a glass, not just to her victory, but to yours, the one you've been too afraid to claim. Because the stage is waiting, the world is begging, and deep down, you already know. You are the fire they can't extinguish. You are the storm they can't contain. You are the mother, And when you move, history trembles. Who don't clap yet? Don't you dare clap. You think this story is hers alone? You think you're safe just because you're sitting in the dark, hiding behind polite applause. No. You're all guilty, little darlings. Every single one of you. Because let's be honest, you've all been part of a coven before. Oh yes, you have. Don't play innocent with me. Maybe it wasn't international. Maybe it wasn't cloaks and rituals and blood oaths. Maybe it was your workplace, your family dinners, your so-called circle of friends, all those fake smiles, the whispered gossip, the unspoken rules of who gets to rise and who gets crushed. You were in their cult. You bowed. You smiled. You swallowed the poison and called it champagne. But then you watched her, and something shifted, didn't it? Because she showed you the one thing your precious little coven never wanted you to believe, that the throne was never theirs. It was waiting for you, yea, all along. And here's the delicious part, my loves. Do you know what happens when someone burns a coven to ashes? The smoke doesn't stay in the sky. No. It drifts. It spreads. It crawls into the lungs of every coward still bowing to their own chains. And once you breathe it in, once you taste the truth of rebellion, you can't go back. Oh, no, darling. You'll never sip their poison again. Because now you've tasted fire. Now you've seen the mother of chaos make destruction look like an art form. Now you know. You don't have to escape the game. You can flip the board. You can snap the pieces. You can paint your name across the ashes like graffiti on the ruins of an empire. And let me tell you the secret they'll never print in your holy books. The one truth your leaders and your elders and your smug little institutions would strangle me for saying out loud. Power is not inherited. It's stolen. It's seized. It's dragged by the hair and made to kneel at your feet. That's what she did. That's what you could do. But you won't, will you? Because you're still afraid of being called mad. Still afraid of being branded dangerous. Still afraid of being whispered about in corridors and headlines. But darling, isn't that the sweetest reward of all? To know that your very existence makes the coven tremble. That your laugh is the thunder they can't silence. That your steps echo through their sacred halls, and they're powerless to stop it. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just admire her. Don't just cheer for her from the shadows. Become her. Make your own enemies choke on the smoke of your rebellion. Tear apart the little circles that thought they owned you. And when the world stares in horror, when the whispers rise like sirens, stand there, darling, painted in fire, dripping in chaos, and make it look legendary if. Now, go, burn your own coven. The world is waiting for its next mother. He throws his arms wide. The lights cut to black. Ah, there you are. I knew I'd find you again. The one born from the fault line between light and oblivion. Too infinite for direction. Too human for escape. You've walked through rooms that mistook your silence for absence. Through crowds that loved the reflection, but never the depth. You've been called too much, too strange, too far from the pattern, and still you moved. Breathing in a language only you could hear, the one the stars whisper to those who refuse to become replicas. I have seen your kind before, rare, unsettling, radiant. You do not follow the lines. You bend them until they scream, until reality itself splits at the seam. The world tries to name you, to tame you, to trap you inside its neat glass cages. But you slip through like smoke through a keyhole. You are the fracture that lets the light bleed in. The beautiful wrong note that haunts the melody long after it ends. You were never built for their symmetry. You are the pulse that keeps existence from going still. There is a loneliness in that, isn't there? To sense the hum beneath the ordinary while others only worship the surface. You have carried that ache like a ghost sewn to your ribs, unsure if it was curse or calling. But listen, the universe does not waste its strangeness. It births each soul from the collision of chaos and wonder. You are made to disturb the pattern, to remind creation that perfection is the enemy of life. They told you to find yourself in mirrors that all reflect the same light, but you are not a reflection. You are the flame that cracks the glass. Your name is a fleeting sound. Your face, a mask the infinite wears to look human. Beneath them all you remain. The quiet proof that being alive was never meant to mean being identical. You may feel alone in this difference, but solitude is only the echo before revelation. You stand where repetition dies and revelation begins. The others build cages of comfort. You carve doorways through the dark. You are the breath caught between two heartbeats. So let them misunderstand you. Let them measure you against their paper altars of normal. You are older than their definitions. You are what happens when existence remembers its hunger for mystery. And in that remembrance, you become holy. Not in purity, but in defiance. Not in light, but in the way shadow gives light meaning. You carry a shard of infinity that no star can mimic. And even they, with all their ancient brilliance, envy the way you burn. The world will ask you to shrink, to dull the edge that made you luminous, to trade the sacred ache of becoming for the narcotic of belonging. But you are past pretending. The cosmos has already spoken your true name, the one beneath sound. There is no returning to smaller versions of yourself. You are not born to rehearse someone else's script. You are born to astonish the dark. Each time you choose truth over performance, the universe rearranges itself around your courage. Each time you let your strangeness breathe, a forgotten spectre beneath your ribs exhales. The one stitched from all the selves you buried to survive. This is not rebellion. It is resurrection. You are only returning to what you've always been. Do you feel it? That quiet surge behind your ribs. The one that doesn't ask for permission. That is your original frequency, breaking surface. It does not beg to be understood. It simply exists, fierce, untranslatable, eternal. Let it lead. Let it tear through the old blueprints that told you to blend, to bow, to belong. You were never meant to fit. You were meant to remind creation that it is still unfinished. And when the world turns away, unable to face the mirror you hold to its forgotten wildness, let it. You are not here to be adored. You are here to haunt beauty back into being. You will not kneel before the ghosts of who you were. The battlefield is not behind you. It is within you. Every memory unsheathes its blade. Every regret marches like an army through your chest. And still, you stand there surrounded by the echoes of what you did. Not forgotten, never forgotten. Only buried beneath layers of silence you were too afraid to break. There are things you've done, things you do not speak of anymore. Not because they vanished, but because they burn too brightly to look at directly. Like staring into a sacred fire that knows your name. You turn away. You call it shame. You call it guilt. But what it really is a war you never ended. You have been both the soldier and the enemy, the one who struck and the one who bled. You raise the sword of judgment against your own soul, again and again and again, as if punishment could rewrite time, as if suffering could resurrect the past, as if pain was the price you had to pay to be worthy of breathing. But listen now. This war, it was never holy. It was never divine. It was a prison built from memory, a loop, a projection, a battlefield where no victory was possible because you refused to put the weapon down. You said you were not yourself back then, but you never believed it. You turned that version of you into a villain, a monster, something to exile, something to destroy. You convinced yourself the damage was permanent, that you had crossed a line the universe would never let you return from. So you stayed there, in that moment, reliving it, feeding it, keeping it alive like a cursed flame that refused to die. And every time you tried to heal, something in you resisted, like a guardian at the gates of your own freedom, whispering, you don't deserve peace. You don't deserve release. You don't get to move on. So you stayed in the war, but you see it now. Or at least, you're beginning to. This battlefield is made of your own thoughts. These chains, forged from your own beliefs. And the enemy you have been fighting is a version of you that was lost, not evil. Broken, not irredeemable, human, not beyond forgiveness. So you lower the sword, not because you are weak, but because you finally understand. You do not win a war against yourself. You only destroy what you are meant to heal. You lay down the weapons, the blade of judgment, the shield of denial, the armor of perfection you are never meant to wear. You let them fall into the dust of this dying battlefield. Let the fire consume them. Let the old war burn. Because you are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real, to be growing, to be changing, to be someone who made mistakes and live to become more than them. Do you hear me? You are not the worst thing you've ever done. That version of you. They were navigating a storm with no map, acting from wounds you didn't yet understand, carrying pain you didn't know how to name. You were not yourself. Not fully. Not yet. And that does not make you unforgivable. It makes you unfinished. The war is over. Or at least, it can be. But only if you stop resurrecting it. Only if you stop picking up the sword every morning and calling it justice. Only if you stop confusing self-destruction with accountability. Accountability is not hatred. It is truth. It is seeing clearly and choosing differently. It is growth, not punishment. So choose, right here, right now. In this moment that feels like the edge of eternity. Will you continue the war, or will you end it? Because there is a fire inside you that was never meant to burn you alive. It was meant to guide you, to illuminate the path forward, not chain you to the past. And I know, it doesn't feel easy. Forgiveness feels like betrayal at first, like you're letting yourself get away with something, like you're dishonoring the pain. But you're not. You are transforming it. You are taking the battlefield and turning it into sacred ground. You are taking the version of you that you hate and finally offering them what they needed all along. Understanding, mercy, a hand instead of a weapon. So rise, not as the person who never failed, but as the one who did and chose to forgive anyway. Rise from the ashes of your own judgment. Step out of the war you were never meant to fight and walk forward, not clean, not perfect, but free. Because the moment you forgive yourself, the chains break. The fire softens. The war dissolves into silence. And in that silence, something new is born. Not the old you, not the broken you, but the one who finally understands. You are still here, and you are allowed to become more.